Hey famous warrior, welcome back to our channel. My name is Louise Mupeta and I am so happy that you decided to click on this video. If this is your first time here, please know that this is our space to come and get encouraged and inspired to face the battles of life. Before we get started, I would like to remind you to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. If you happen to be watching this on Facebook, like and follow the Famous Warrior page so that you get all the content that we prepare for you guys. In my last solo video, I shared about the importance of vulnerability and how if we approach it correctly, this can turn into a secret weapon for us. If you guys are diehard famous warriors, then I am sure you have been following along with the content that we've been sharing the past few weeks on practical friendship. The first was about practical friendship among women, and the second that aired last week was about practical friendship among men. One of the key principles shared by both groups during their episodes was the power that vulnerability helps create in friendship. Each group shared in one way or another how them being vulnerable and taking that step in their relationships, in their friendships, helped foster community. And this is what I want to talk to you about today, our second secret weapon. Community is a secret weapon. If you went to a proper Zambian school as I did, you will remember that we learned that a community is a group of people living and working together. This definition may still apply even in what I want to unpack in this video, but I do want to add a few more layers to it. Some people appreciate a large social group, and so their community is made up of a variety of people that include friends, family, colleagues, mentors, mentees, and even online friendships. Others are more content with their community consisting of a much tighter circle of people. But whatever community looks like for you, I think we can all agree that these social ties are important however wide or small they may be. Scientific research has been conducted to actually prove that being a part of community helps us in various ways. Some of the ways are that it helps us boost our empathy, it helps with our mental health, it helps reduce risk factors of chronic disease, it helps improve our brain health, it can extend our lives, it improves health behaviors, it drives social change, and it also provides financial support. Psalms 133 verse 1 reminds us that it is truly wonderful when the people of God live together in peace. And this is all speaking about why community is important and why we should strive to build community around us. That being said, my definition of the secret weapon that is community is it's a collection of like-minded people who have purpose to offer safe places to one another. The reason I believe community is a secret weapon is that since Adam and Eve were cast out of the garden, mankind has been on a desperate search for safe places in which to live. Eden was the safest place for us to be. It contained everything that we needed to thrive, but we lost that during the fall. Since then, the enemy has attacked us most when we have lacked that all-important safety. Community is necessary if we want to win the battles of life. It is a weapon that every good warrior not only needs to own, but needs to train how to use well. So I want to share why community is important, why community is a secret weapon to us, why we need to foster community. And I love acronyms, and when I was preparing for this video, the Holy Spirit gave me an acronym to share with you that I thought was really cool and ingenious. So using the acronym, I'm going to share 10 reasons why our community is not only essential for our survival, but is a secret weapon against the attack of the enemy. and our acronym is going to spell the word safe places. So remember, our community is a collection of like-minded people who have purpose to offer safe places to each other. So my first S in the word safe places represents support. We all need support to stand and walk upright. In Proverbs, we hear of a righteous man who falls 7 times but gets up every single time. In that same verse, we hear of the wicked who fail to get up after just one calamity. I think the difference between the godly and the wicked in this case is their support system or lack thereof. God said, again, back in the beginning, back in the Garden of Eden, that it is not good for man to be alone. This means that to value community is to agree with God. Choosing not to esteem and value community is choosing to live your life in direct opposition to how God has said that we should live. In a previous video, I shared on the trap of isolation, and I unpacked how the devil tries to keep us cornered and isolated so that he can have his way with us and eventually destroy us. The support created by our community ensures that we are kept safe from the enemy's attacks. Next is our first A, which represents accountability. Accountability encourages healing and creates boundaries that prevent further injury. James 5:16 paints a picture of this for us. If we don't have people in our lives with whom we can be honest enough to share our shortcomings, our failures, and sins, then we are not safe. True safety is experienced when we are completely honest, completely bare, leaving all our stuff on the table, and in that honest place, we are covered, challenged, and championed to rise again and walk uprightly. I'm sure you have heard the quote that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. Accountability helps us go far because we can share our vision with others and they can hold us accountable to it even when we are on the brink of giving up. The accountability provided by our community ensures that we heal from previous attacks of the enemy and avoid further and future attacks. Next is the F in safe, which represents fun. Most people assume that life is void of fun if you are in a solid Christ-following community. And if you watched any of the practical friendship videos, I am sure that you can tell just by the number of laugh out loud moments they were, that it is possible to have a community that fills your life with fun but still follows Christ. So if you want your life to be fun, you have to be purposeful about surrounding yourself with people who value fun just as much as you do. Remember, I said community is a collection of like-minded people. So if you are boring, you will attract people into your community who are boring. Don't blame it on Christ. Christ is fun. If you read the Gospels, you will see just how fun he is. He calls us to fill our life with people who will help us live our lives well. So the fun provided by our community ensures that we can truly say that we had an abundant life, that we lived well. Next is the first E, which represents our extension. In 1 Chronicles, we have a man named Jabez, and Jabez called on God, saying, "Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain." So God granted him what he requested. When we are thriving within the safe places created for us by our community, one of the byproducts is that our territory begins to extend. Now, territory can mean different things for different people. To some people, this just means financial, gain, expand my territory, meaning giving me better things, bigger things, more territory financially. But I don't believe that this just pertains to finances. And for the purpose of this video, I will peg territory to mean our level of influence, our capacity, our empathy, and even our courage. God places us within his ordained communities so that we can grow in certain areas. The more territory we have, the less wiggle room our enemy has against us. The extension provided by our communities ensures that we are better equipped and more well-rounded to face the attacks of the enemy. Next is the P that represents pushing. We all need a little pushing once in a while. I'm sure you can agree to that. Even in your own life, there are moments where you've needed a push. I think that's why people say, if you want to work out with a partner, because that partner can push you on days when you're like, I don't want to go to the gym today, or I don't want to work out today. So we all need that push every once in a while. And as we journey through life, there are times when we run out of steam and need a little push from someone who is just as committed to where we are headed. So more than just accountability, the pushing that we get from people in our community is that actual on-the-ground walk with you to ensure that you get to your destination. So this is different from accountability because it's not just a friend or someone in your community simply hearing where you want to go and holding you accountable for the steps that you said you were going to take to get there. This is somebody who is called to push us in life and will actually walk the journey out with us to ensure that we get to our destination. So the pushing provided by our community ensures that the enemy doesn't keep us stuck along the way to our purpose. Next, we have L, which represents learning. If you are not surrounded with people who help you learn, then I would argue that you are surrounded by the wrong people. Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend." Having a good community keeps us both mentally and spiritually sharp. People in our community will sharpen us by questioning, coaching, and even challenging us. When we think we know what we're doing, when we think we have made the right decision, if we take it to the people in our community, they will ask us questions, they will challenge us and help us make better decisions by sharpening how we are thinking and helping us learn stuff that we didn't know before. The learning provided by our community keeps us sharp so that we don't fall prey to the schemes of the enemy. Next is the second A, which represents acceptance. Romans 15:7 tells us to accept each other just as Christ has accepted us so that God will be given glory. The Christ-like acceptance that we experience in a God-ordained community is based on love, worth, and dignity, not tolerance. Christ doesn't just tolerate us. He accepts us because he loves us. And when we are truly loved and accepted, we are safe enough to evolve. The process of us becoming more and more like Christ can't happen without us experiencing the acceptance of God through other people. It's not just enough for us to know that God accepts us. God works through people, and there's something about another human being looking you in the eye and accepting you for who you are that allows us the room, the safety, and the space to evolve. God designed us to flourish within the love and acceptance of our community. That's just his design. That's how he did it. When he said that it is not good for man to be alone, that's what he meant. There's certain things that we need to access in our lives, but we will not access those things until we are plugged into a community. That's God's design. That's his blueprint. And no matter how hard we try, we can't go past the blueprint and the design that has been laid before us. The acceptance provided by our community creates an atmosphere for us to become more like Christ and less like the world. The next is C, which represents connection. God designed community to operate like a complex, miraculous, interconnected system that exists to demonstrate his goodness in our lives. Outside of our community, we are disconnected, and disconnected, we lack the power generated within community. When we are connected with others, we are connected to the main power source. Again, back to the blueprint and the design. God just made it that way. There's power in numbers. There's power in community. There's power in us being together and united. Matthew 18:19-20 speaks of this when it says, "If two of you agree here on earth concerning anything you ask, my Father in heaven will do it for you. For where 2 or 3 gather together as my followers, I am there among them." There is power in connection. There is power in community. There is power in us being plugged in to other human beings. the people that are Jesus' skin on in our lives, human to human contact. There is power in that. And the connection provided by our community keeps us connected to that source of power, which makes us strong against the enemy. Next is our second E, which represents encouragement. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 11 reminds us to encourage one another and build one another up. Never underestimate the power of an encouraging word. That's one of my favorite quotes. And I'm sure you guys can agree and have experienced this, but it's possible to get encouragement from outside your community. These days, with social media pages that are dedicated to encouraging the body of Christ, we have a lot of encouraging resources at our very fingertips. And this is great. However, back to human contact. There is something about an encouraging word coming from someone who knows you. Someone who knows who you are, they know your weaknesses, they know what you're going through, and they know exactly what you need to get back up. When someone can look you in the eye and speak words that will build you up, it is breathed on by God. So, the encouragement provided by our community inspires us, keeps us hopeful, and gives us the courage we need to face adversity. Last but not least, the second S in our words, safe places, represents spiritual growth. Our target as believers, the finish line of our race, and our mandate is to become more and more like Jesus. This can't happen outside of community. In science, we learn about growth requirements, what certain organisms need for them to grow properly. And as believers, one of our spiritual growth requirements is to be plugged into a healthy community. We see this in the early church and how they were committed to staying plugged in, and because of this, they grew both spiritually and in numbers. Because the Holy Spirit was happy with the fact that they were committed to meeting every day. They were committed to helping one another. They were so committed to their community that they didn't even think of their possessions as being their own. They shared everything. They were so plugged in to what was happening in that community that everything was on the table. There was nothing like, no, this is mine alone. Everything was for the community. And so God honored that by making it possible for them to grow both spiritually and even in the numbers that were getting saved every single day during that time. The spiritual growth that is stimulated by our community keeps us growing in the Lord, healthy and effective. So there we have it, guys. The acronym SAFE Places. I always say that Famous Warrior is our safe place to come and get encouraged, charged up, inspired to face the battles of life. And this is one of the mandates that God gave me when He asked me to start Famous Warrior. It's supposed to be a community where we can be authentic, tenacious, and sincere in our efforts to do life well, in our efforts to win those battles of life, no matter what they are, no matter what they look like, because they're going to look different for different people. But we get to come into this space and be ourselves, be authentic, demonstrate tenacity, and demonstrate sincerity to grow, sincerity to want to do better, to want to be better, to want to grow in the Lord. That is a community. So, community is a secret weapon. Do not underestimate it. Recognize that community provides you with safe places that you need to grow, thrive, and avoid attacks from the enemy. Community is necessary if we want to win the battles of life. I hope this video has encouraged you guys. If it has, please let us know in the comments below and share this video with a friend. The more you share it, the more it gets in front of other people. The more you comment on the videos below, the more people get to see it. The more it makes waves in the algorithm. I don't know how these things work, but if you leave a comment, it makes it possible for someone else to stumble upon the video. So let us know what you've gotten out of this video in the comments, and like I said, if it has encouraged you or you know someone that it might help, then share it with them too. Warriors have weapons so that they can fight. Our chance to fight is a privilege, and you guys are definitely worth the fight.